Welcome back to Console Crapshoot, where we spin a wheel to play a random video game on original hardware. Carl's been pretty wild. He's been all over the place with his wheel choices lately, but I guess that's a good thing. He's keeping us on our toes. Alright, we've got the Nintendo 64. I like that. A lot of random wacky stuff on the N64. Definitely a unique console, and looks like we've got 297 games on this wheel. We've got South Park. I remember it kind of sucked, and I remember the controls really sucked. But let's see if that memory is accurate. First thing you notice here is that this game has expansion pack support. The expansion pack for the Nintendo 64, if you don't know, was just a RAM expansion. You basically popped open the hood on your N64 and you put this bad boy in there to turbocharge your N64 from 4 megabytes of RAM to a whopping 8 megabytes of RAM. Pretty pathetic, but it did make a bit of a difference for games that were designed to utilize it. This game, however, all it really does is add a high-res mode, but if you use that high-res mode, yeah, like the resolution on the game looks a lot better if the game is paused, if you're taking screenshots, but it cuts down on the frame rate quite a bit, like noticeably, where the game it's really not worth it, and you should just really continue to play it in regular low-res mode. I'm a big South Park fan, especially later South Park, as it got its legs and it got a little bit smarter. But I'll be honest, I wasn't excited about playing this game. The sense of humor here, the style, this is from real early South Park, and this is before, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, before they really got involved in the games. This was like when it was just like a marketing commercial machine and they would pump out merchandise, and this was merchandise basically. Later on, you had some really amazing South Park games, some stuff I really love. The what is it? The Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole, both really amazing games and really funny games. But this is like simply a cash-in product, but I will say the timing couldn't be any more perfect. I wasn't excited about playing the game, but this feels like it was kind of meant to be. The week that I was to play this game, I also happened to be going to Denver, just taking a little trip to get away and visit some friends. As you may or may not know, South Park is set, around Denver, but it just so happened that for my trip to Denver, I managed to get tickets for Casa Bonita. If you're a South Park fan, you know what that means. Go to season 7. There's an episode called Casa Bonita. It's a really funny episode. It's a classic episode. Long story short, there's this Mexican restaurant. It's not even a restaurant. It's more like a theme park for Mexican food, if that makes sense. It's like a ride almost. Everyone around the Denver area grew up with it. It's a big deal. It's a big part of the town. South Park did an episode about it, put it on the map, and it slowly went into disrepair, finally went out of business, and Trey Parker and Matt Stone actually bought Casa Bonita and spent like upwards almost $40 million or something all total, like renovating the place and redoing the place. There's a documentary about it on Paramount Plus. Recommend it. It's really funny. It's really interesting. It's a really tough ticket to get. I had a trip planned. I was only going to be there for 5 days, but I have my ways. I managed to get a table for 6 and even managed to get the King's table. The King's table is the best table in the restaurant. That's like where the owners used to sit. It was perfect. Well worth it. Had a blast. The place was so awesome. Felt like a big kid. Man Bear Pig even swung by our table. It was so serendipitous that I happened to have a visit to Casa Bonita the same week I'm supposed to play this game. Too perfect not to delve into. So back to the game. Really the standout here, it doesn't look terrible. I mean, the draw distance is awful, but that was pretty common with N64 games. It's big, the maps are big, the multiplayer is pretty fun. I didn't have anyone to play with this week. I had my trip and all, and the timing didn't work out. Everyone was busy, but I messed with it a little bit. But yeah, it's just the controls. The controls are absolutely horrendous. As you know, the N64, the controller's weird. It didn't quite master first-person experiences. GoldenEye and then Perfect Dark later did the best that they could. Also pretty annoying. This whole first act is all turkeys chasing you and all making this noise. Better get used to that noise. It's going to be happening a lot. The missions vary. Some of the humor is funny. Some of the cutscenes are funny, but it's pretty subpar, especially like I said, when, looking in hindsight, now we know how good a South Park game can be. This just falls super flat. I have no qualms about putting in some cheats and seeing more of the game a little quicker. Something that did surprise me, some positives. I mean, a lot of voice work in here. That's not always easy to do on the N64, and this game does that. Not only were there a lot of weapons, but there were different versions of each weapon. There were like secondary alternate firing modes for each weapon that lent a different dimension to each weapon. There's variety. But like I said, it feels kind of like a soulless product, like a cash-in on a franchise. There has to be games. We have to make money, and it's in the contract, and here you go. It's a South Park video game. There's not much else to say. Now you know why I was talking about Casa Bonita so much. There's not really, anywhere to go with this. It's pretty boring. So let's, I guess, just cut to the rating that we're going to give to South Park for the Nintendo 64. Yeah, I feel bad dumping on it because it has something going on for it. I don't know what, but it's something. There was some good intentions here, I think, from the developers, but it seems to me that there was too much pressure probably to push this out real quick to capitalize on the license. That's speculation, but it seems pretty clear to me that that's what's going on. I don't think I can qualify this as good necessarily. It's gonna have to be a 2 out of 5 for me. Not really bad, but it's kind of bad, and that's what the 2 is. But I recommend playing South Park: The Stick of Truth and not this game. And by all means, go watch the Casa Bonita episode of South Park so you know what I'm talking about. It is in season 7. And if you're in the Denver area, I would try to get tickets for Casa Bonita. It's amazing. Think of it like a theme park. You gotta wait in line even though you got a reservation. But you might just end up, if you're kind to the staff and nice to people, you might just end up sitting at the king's table. That's a little life hack. It's a little tip from me to you guys. Just be nice to people. They're working. They're having a day, whatever it is. You might be having a day too, but it doesn't cost you anything to be nice, especially while they're doing their job. But that's it for this week. The game wasn't good, but fate really, I don't know, the timing couldn't have been more perfect. Will something cool like that happen next week? I have no clue, but I am looking forward to finding out, and we'll see you then.